What's up, y'all? So today's talk, it's about happiness, contentment, basically how to achieve satisfaction in life. So too often people think about contentment and happiness in terms of achieving material goals. If I could just save up this amount of money, or if I can just buy a home, or get a certain job, or find the right mate, um, when my kids grow up and leave the house, or when I retire, or you know there's always some reason that people have to not be satisfied with the life that they're living. And what happens is you end up, and tell me, well, you tell yourself if you've ever done this, where you set yourself a goal. You say, if I get this job, if I get this next raise, if I can get my income to this level, if I could get married, if I could reach this age, um, some event like my kid graduates or something, and that goal is achieved and you're still not happy. Then all of a sudden, well, I need this to happen too. And then I need this. And so what happens is the goalpost keeps moving, right? So there are several philosophies that kind of play into this. And I'll just see what comes up, and then maybe I'll have to do a part two or something if I can't think of it. So it is said that man is like a dog tied to a cart, that he goes wherever that cart goes, and he has no freedom of determination. Yesterday we were talking about self-determination. Today I'm going to talk about, I think it's called the deterministic life or mindset. The deterministic life mindset. Actually, there were several things that I'll be talking about. Remember that deterministic mindset. And basically, what that's saying is, if you are convicted that you will be happy, that no matter what happens with life, you are always going to be satisfied with what's going on. And if there's anything that you can change, you will. You will change it. If you cannot change it, then you just accept the fact that you cannot change it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So rather than projecting your satisfaction with life or your happiness with achieving some goal, we all have goals, but you have to live in the moment that you're in right now. You have to live where you are and be satisfied with that. Hate to keep talking about religion, but there's a lot of good lessons in that. Well, you know the story about when the slaves were freed from Egypt, when Moses led the slaves out of Egypt, and they went looking for the promised land. He sent out what they call the 12 spies, I think that was called. The 12 spies, and he said, spy the promised land and tell me everything about it. I want to know what the size, how many people are there, if the land is fertile or not, what grows there. Bring back samples. Give us a report on what the promised land is like. And remember, it's called the promised land because God told them that this is yours. I'm going to give this to you. Okay? Of the 12 spies, 10 of them did not have enough faith that they could get the promised land. When they got there, they found the giants, right? The sons of Anak, which, surprising, Tagalog, Anak means child. My child. Anyway, the sons of Anak were there. They were the giants. And 10 of them came back with not just bad news, but they came back with exaggerated news about what it was like there. And they drew this dreary picture of how bad it was, and the fact that the giants were there and they would never be able to take it over. And basically, they slandered God and His promise. Um, so 10 of them came back with a negative report. 2 of them came back with a positive report. The 2, I don't remember which ones they were, Caleb and Joshua or whatever, I don't remember what their names are. 2 of them came back with positive reports. They did mention the Giants, but they also mentioned that they could win over the Giants. And they came back very optimistic about the promised land. They brought back so many grapes that it took 2 men carrying a stick to carry the grapes as proof of how fertile the land was, and what it was a land of milk and honey, and they were growing everything there. So the people chose to believe the 10 negative men, and did not believe the 2 optimistic men. As a result, God sent the Israelites back into the desert to wander for 40 years. Why 40 years? 40 years was enough time to kill off an entire generation, and to bring up a new generation of adults who've never known any other life other than what they had, right? There is a saying that if you don't appreciate what you got, you can never get more. One of the secrets to abundance, one of the secrets to achieving more, is to first appreciate what you've got. I used to tell my employees this. Let me tell you, about 15 years ago, I worked for a security company. The starting pay was $9.97. Matter of fact, it was less than that. I can't remember, but the starting pay was like $10 an hour. It came with free health care. You didn't have to pay for it. There were people who worked there, and security is considered a dead-end job, but it's stable. And some guys were spying other jobs. They were looking for jobs on other contracts in other cities, looking for other jobs in other fields. And they didn't take care of the one that they had, one where they're working for me. And what ended up happening is, if you ask my former employees, they either love me or they loathe me, right? You had some people who thought I was just this horrible boss, and then you had the ones who thought I was great, because I mentored people, I taught people, I protected people. I tried to run that office, so the whole operation. We had like 1,100 employees in my jurisdiction. We try to run it as efficiently and as fairly, as justly as possible. And something behind the scenes that people didn't know, I was constantly pushing for more money. Of course, we were bound by contract, but the company, in talking to the company, it was, we could pay more if we wanted to. And so I did give out overtime when I could, so that people who wanted more money could get more money, things like that. But there were some people who just weren't happy with what they had. Now, in Sacramento at that time, jobs like that came with benefits were hard to come by. The work conditions were pretty decent. And then with a boss like me, I made sure that all the managers and supervisors under me acted acted ethically. You know what I mean? They treated the employees well. I made sure of that. What happened was some people did not appreciate what they had and they mistreated the job, and we ended up firing them. Some people were on shaky ground with us and they ended up getting removed from site to site where they couldn't go a whole lot of directions in the company. Some guys wanted promotions, they would have become supervisors and become managers, but because they didn't take care of the jobs that they had, they were stuck being just a security guard. In, I don't remember, 2006, 2007, we renegotiated the contract. The guards got a little bit extra money. I think it was like $1 more raise. But the company also, and I don't remember the amount, it might have been like another $3 or $4 an hour that went into a retirement fund, that went into a 401k fund. So even though the guards didn't make much more money, but because of the retirement, they made about 30% more. Even though they didn't get it on their checks week after week, it went into an account. And 10 years later, when the company, because right now this company is still there, but they're starting to lose contracts here and there. Other companies are coming and taking over. Guys who worked for me back then who are still there are now receiving checks for $15, $20, $30, $40,000. All because they took care of a shitty $9.97 job from 10, 12, 13 years ago. If you don't take care of what you have right now, you will never get more. Do you understand? The first key to getting more is appreciate what you've got. So going back to determinism, the deterministic mindset, is that you decide that I am going to be content with what I have first. Not saying I'm going to be complacent and not try to get more. It's saying I'm first going to appreciate what I have, take care of what I have, while I strive for more. Do you get it? I give you a gift, and you look at this gift. Depending on how you treat that gift, depending on how you receive that gift, that will determine whether I give you another gift. Do you get it? If you buy your kid some clothes, a phone, new furniture for their bedroom, toys, and they take care of it, you don't mind doing it again and maybe buying them something a little bit more valuable, something a little nicer. But if the kid complains and they mistreat it, they break it, they toss it to the side, oh, Dad, this is cheap, I don't like it, blah, 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 blah. Are you going to buy that kid some shit again? Hell no. Whether you believe in God or you believe in karma or you just believe in this universal energy that's floating around, whatever you want to call it, life does not give you more if you don't appreciate what you have. Do you understand? And so you have to first determine that you will be happy no matter what. Marcus Aurelius, in his book Meditations, spoke of a philosophy called Amor Fati, F-A-T-I, Fati, Amor, M-A-O-R, A-M-O-R, Fati, to love fate, to love your fate. What that says is no matter what happens to me, I'm not only going to accept fate. I'm not only going to accept what happens. I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to make the most out of it. I'm going to love it. Why? Because if you want to be happy and you want to achieve more, or you want to be content with what you have to appreciate what you have. You can't do that and complain at the same time. Complaining to me is a sign of a weak man. Okay? You have the head of household goes to work every day. If he's coming home bitching and moaning every day, it's not the same look as if he comes home, he kisses his wife, he kisses his kids, he puts his feet up, maybe somebody massages his feet for him, he enjoys dinner, plays with the children, puts them to bed, and then goes to his room where his wife is and tell her, oh my God, work was so tough today, right? Those children will grow up with a different view of their father than if he comes home complaining about it every day. So will the wife. The wife she will be more confident in her future if her man comes home and, not saying you hide the truth from your wife, but you come home and you're calm and you act as if I got this under control. I got it, right? Compared to the guy who's complaining, oh my God, this place is so horrible. I don't know if I can make it there, blah, 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 blah. That sows a seed of doubt into everybody that's relying on you. If you are the leader of your household, you're the leader of a company, you're the leader of a country, and the sky is always falling, people don't have a lot of trust in you. They don't have a lot of faith in you. They're not optimistic. They're not going to be happy or satisfied. You have to be enthusiastic about the future. You have to be enthusiastic about your present. Okay? It's not to say that you don't strive for more or that you don't work to improve. It's just saying that you make the most of what you got. And Amor Fati is one of those things, one of those ideas that you should be embracing. That no matter what happens to me, I'm going to react to it positively. I'm going to react to it as a man or a woman who's an alchemist, who can take anything and turn it into gold. Do you understand? Okay, so with the Israelites, God promised them that they would inherit the land of milk and honey. The people complained to God. They complained to Moses. They bitched and moaned about what they had. They had no faith that things would get better. They had no faith that they would even defeat the obstacles that would allow them to go into the land of milk and honey, the promised land. Okay. And they ended up having to sacrifice an entire generation of people in order to go in. Nobody that went into the promised land remembered when they were in slavery, except the two of the spies, Caleb and Joshua. Right? Of the 12, 10 died off, and 2 were allowed to enter the promised land. God did not reward them with anything because the little bit he gave them, hell, do you know they were actually starting to reminisce about going back to slavery? They had just left the Pharaoh. They had just trekked across the desert, having come from slavery. Then they get into the desert, and some of them actually looked back thinking, damn, we had it good over there. Do you understand? And let me explain something to you. We, and you know what I'm talking about, we are almost like that. We don't appreciate what we've got. We bitch and moan. We complain about what we've got right now. This right now, I hate to tell you this, black folks. What we're in is, I mean, okay, Wall Street, Black Wall Street, that's a separate time. We're in probably the best position that we've been in as a people. Now, does that mean the Harlem Renaissance and Black Wall Street were better? Depends on how you look at it. Did we prosper? Yeah, but we didn't have no rights at that time. We didn't have no rights. We were in a position where the white man can come in and burn down your cities and you couldn't do shit about it. I always hear that when they talk about, well, we can bring back Black Wall Street. And then they say, well, 1920 in Oklahoma City, blah, blah, blah. Nigga, I know fucking history. But those were different black people. They didn't have guns. They didn't have rights. Okay? They were fresh out of slavery, those people. They made the most of what they had. They did not complain. They got out there. They didn't beg the white man for shit. They built with what they had. These are people that were one generation out of slavery. Many of these people had been slaves. And they built Black Wall Street. Motherfucker, what are you building now? We got education. We got money. We got laws. We got protection. We got black judges, black president, black politicians, black lawyers, black cops. You mean to tell me that we can't build more now than what we had 100 years ago? Think about that. Nigga, I'm sorry, excuse me. Brothers and sisters, you are wandering the desert right fucking now. That story about the Israelites is going on right fucking now. The promised land is all around you. Vietnamese motherfuckers are coming over here that don't speak English. Mexicans are coming here that don't speak English. Russians are coming here that don't speak English. If you want to talk about color, fuck it. Nigerians are coming over here. Well, they speak English, but Ethiopians are coming here that don't speak English. They don't have green cards, or they don't have education. They don't have connections. Brother, we got all of that. Yet, within one generation, every single immigrant, every single migrant that comes here outdoes us. Why is that? Don't tell me about no fucking slavery. Don't tell me about Jim Crow. We got through that. We here. Everything that we wanted in the 60s, goddamn, we got it. But the problem is, you have the same fucking mindset that no matter what you got, it's not enough. And that is the reason why you're not happy now. Some of you. You got some brothers who figured it out. They got good jobs, got degrees, got the house. We ain't worried about the rest of the brothers, right? I got mine. That's the wrong mindset. As a people, we have to make the most of what we got. That's what I'm saying. Are there wealthy black folks now? Yes, there are. Are there successful black folks now? Yes, there are. But for the masses of our people, we are still stuck in slavery. Okay? There are more black people going hungry now than 100 years ago when you couldn't even fucking drink out of a fucking water fountain. They did better in 1960 than we're doing now. We have more options available to us now, yet we're not taking advantage of it. We're complaining. The giants are too big, right? It's too hot. It's too difficult. And everybody around us is picking up those same opportunities that we have right in front of us, and they're making their lives with it. There is nothing that a Mexican does in this country to feed his family that a black man can't do. There's nothing that a Vietnamese guy is doing. I can tell you this about what they call that, refugee assistance. Okay, I grew up in that. Remember, I'm half Asian. Okay, there's less available to them that's available to us. We have more available to us than any immigrant. Trust me. Okay, don't listen to what these people out here are saying. I know from experience. And what I'm telling you is we're not making the most of what we got because we don't appreciate what we have. We're going to fuck around and we're going to lose what we have because that's what happens when you don't appreciate what you got. Okay, so you have to first appreciate what you have. You have to determine for yourself that you're going to make the most of it and you're going to build and you're going to make something greater out of it. You have to believe in yourself and you have to be fully committed to doing whatever you got to do to get there. Because if you don't, you're never going to achieve a thing. Okay, so there is more on this subject. But that's all I'm going to say for now. Um, but look for a part two to this, and maybe an article. I think maybe it's time for me to write an article. All right, y'all have a good day. Think about what I said and look up some of these terms so you can understand more. Okay, and I'll probably do smaller videos explaining them better. All right, take it easy.